From London to the world, every flaggy planet said, you matter, you're hurt, but there's a man who finds you in the car.
All right. Okay, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Cyrus, I see you. Welcome, Cyrus. Welcome to the stage, my friend. How are you doing, Cyrus?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. How's it going, man? You all right?
Yeah,
I'm well. Thank you.
I'm doing well until my connection to the plug to my new iPad thing or Mac thing. MacBook. Suddenly decided it's not going to turn on. If it turns on intermittently, I don't know what's going on. That's very
Did you
weird.
get a Did you get a new MacBook or just a new plug for it?
I got a new MacBook, so I'm gonna have to get a new plug for it. Is what I'm thinking. Which is it works when it's shut. When obviously I need it on to use it, right?
Yeah.
These things are sent to try, Cyrus. These things are sent to try. It's like I'm good. Otherwise, I'm good. You're here. I'm here, and Leanna's here too. So that gives me joy. That gives me joy. Welcome, my friend. Happy Wednesday. This is
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, being your 37 business live. It's where I guess it's the first room I started off with on events years ago, right? And it's where I share my biggest lessons in life. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I'm no
business,
coach.
yeah.
So I'm no coach. I'm a learner, if anything, right? And what I do is learn and then share with you what I learn. There's a next level thing behind that. In that, I truly believe when we learn, when we can teach something that we've learned. So
Yes.
you hear me waffling in this, sharing my learning with you in these events. But if you want help to apply them, please talk to a proper coach, Coach Sean. There's many other coaches out there, right? So. I'm excited. I get so excited, Cyrus. I get very, very excited because I think there's so much I will need to learn. There's so much that will do learn. And if I can help you to take a shortcut on your journey, then I've served the purpose in life, right? Cyrus, the plug is on now. Do I turn it on or do I leave it? I have no idea.
Has it turned on again?
No, the light is on, so it is charging.
Yeah, it's good.
I know that's good.
Yeah, quality's good.
But now I've opened the screen. Nothing, Cyrus. It's powered off again. It's partly positioning more than anything. Look,
I'm sorry, I don't know what the actual problem is with it.
Okay, so the plug, when you connect the plug to the computer, to the laptop, it's a magnetic thing. It looks like.
Yeah.
And then a little red comes on top of the connection.
Yeah.
So that means everything's working fine. Now it seems that mine only wants to work fine. The connection, the charging port only wants to work when the laptop is closed. When it's open, the light goes off. Bit of a bug of that. But let's not waste time there. Let's not waste time there. And I think today's topic is hugely important. It's important for me anyway. So I'm sure it'll be important for you as well. And I've got a show planned for you. And with Cyrus here today, we're going to learn loads, my friend, and have fun. Talk to me, Cyrus. How are you doing? How's life with you?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much. I've been working on a couple of new projects, a couple of new podcasts. When I say a couple, I mean this week it's been two, one for a client, one for myself. And I spent lots of time on it, on both actually. And in my new one, which is called Branding, I'm sharing my experiences in podcasting and in branding, obviously. And Branding is on season 1 still. And we are sharing our experience of failures, successes, difficulties, and the workarounds. The things in that helps us in branding. That's basically what I'm sharing with my listeners.
How do you, where is that podcast, and how do we get to listen?
Yeah, so the podcast is you can find it anywhere you find your podcasts on. Pretty dominantly on social media, on our Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on X, and we've not uploaded it to Spotify yet, because we're waiting for a season and then we upload the whole season together. So what it entails, what it consists of, is the mistakes that people make and the misunderstandings about branding. It costs people in hidden ways, in loss of revenue, in losing the competition to your competitors. These are the things that we're actually sharing with people, and teaching people how to use storytelling to advance their podcasts. And by the way, if you have a business and you don't have a podcast for it yet, you need to find out why is it that you haven't found the need yet. Because as a leader, as a business leader, one of your jobs is to be constantly talking about your product and service. And if you're not doing it, how do you expect other people to be talking about something even you're not talking about, right? So that's the reason why a podcast is 100% necessary, not an option, necessary. It's a non-negotiable. You need a podcast for your business or the service that you're doing, because there's a reason behind it. There's a psychological tactic behind it. Because what you're providing, guess what? 3, 4, 5, 10 million other people are providing. What's the difference between yours and theirs? Their prices might be even cheaper. Of course, people would buy from them. However, if you hook them with your storytelling, and you don't need to be a Stephen King as a storyteller. You don't need to be Stephen King. You need to be just you. People forget to be themselves. That's how they lose to the competition. That's how people's businesses end up just another face in the crowd. And as a business, you don't want to be a face in the crowd. You want to stand out. How do you stand out? Storytelling. You use your story, the origin story of your business, of your service. How was it?
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't have a story. Tell a memory. Tell them about the memory you've had. Yeah.
Well, that part, and definitely storytelling, is so, we think we do storytelling every day. It's whether we're doing it with intention, right? Whether it's in a way that's going to engage our target audience. Look, let me welcome Ima. Right? Ima, welcome. Great to have you here. I see your message on my WhatsApp, Ima, and I will thank you publicly, as I should. Thank you for referring Michaela and Michael for their book. So we're just about to start work on editing the book as we speak. Thank you so much, Ima. You're a star. Truly, I appreciate you more than anyone probably realized. Look, I'll give you a call and let's talk. Let's get your book published as well while we're there, right? I work from Liana. There's many more people here, but you're just not showing. You're just not saying a word. Say hi. Say something so I know to welcome you properly. Linda, amazing Linda in Canada. So Linda's got her own show now. Welcome, Linda. So glad you're here. Great to have you here.
Hi, Linda. How's it going?
And I think Linda's a perfect example of what we're talking about. And as someone who found, I think let me go back a bit. Maybe it's because some people haven't found their voice yet, Cyrus. They're still trying to find their voice. So I remember Linda.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
Tell me why you do.
I think those people those people have been suppressing their voice and they haven't stopped suppressing it. People don't find their
Yes.
voice. They allow their voice to be heard.
Cool. I like that. I like that. That's so true though. We've all got a voice. We say we talk every day. We tell stories every day. So we just have to learn to find the confidence.
I don't go to my local shop and say, when I need a jar of jam or I don't know, a block of butter. I don't go there. I'm sorry, I don't know how to order. I've lost my voice. Unless I've literally physically lost my voice, I'm going to be using my phone screen, okay, and show them, communicate somehow, right? And people will say, oh, I'm finding my voice. Or no, you don't find your voice. You allow your voice to be heard. Yeah.
I'll put it this way, Sarah. Now, of course, because I do shows with authors, right? Many of I know most of my shows, before we go live, I can see people's anxiety, because some people want to say the right things. They want to say it in a proper way. They want to say, are you with me? They want to get it right.
Yes.
And for most of my co-hosts, most of my author friends, there's suddenly a moment that I can hear they suddenly breathe out, suddenly go, I'm here. Must well get to get on with it and enjoy. I can pinpoint the moment for most of my co-hosts when they suddenly learn to relax and just trust themselves to speak the way they want to speak. So that's one. As someone who didn't speak publicly for years, I can understand people's anxieties. People's, they say people rather die than speak in public, Cyrus, for a reason. No, podcast is speaking in public for many people, right? And for many people, literally, they would rather die than speak in public in that way because it's there for eternity. It's that it's going to reach maybe thousands of people, especially on your podcast. So people just have that anxiety. Is it natural? Maybe, but
it can be actually.
The cure is the same. The cure is the same as you're saying. Just use your voice. Just speak. Learn to breathe and just speak.
Yeah, the main problem is that spotlight effect, and the solution for spotlight. Well, spotlight effect is when you feel there's a spotlight on you, and the rest of the world is watching you intensely, right? But in reality, that is not the case. People have more important problems than how you look, how you sound, and the way you sound, the way your mannerisms might be. No, people have more important issues. As an example, your loyal fans and followers always join you. And I've been a part of your shows for best part of 2 years now, right? So, and I love it. That's why I turn up. So I'm one of your loyal fans and followers and friends. We turned into friends after the initial stages of being fans and followers, right?
100%.
Then, the loyal ones always turn up, right? So they never judge you. If they judge you and say, I don't know, the back of your shoes is a little bit dusted off, or I don't know, something like that. If they judge you, they're protecting you. They're not judging you, right? So they're the loyal ones. If they judge you, right, they're not your friends. And if they're not your friends, the judgment doesn't matter, right?
This is a realization for many, Cyrus, and we'll make after a long time, right? Look, I was talking to someone this evening, someone called Delilah, and a new LinkedIn connection, and I was saying to her, the way I get past my anxiety on these shows is simply to realize I'm talking to my friends. I'm talking with my friends. So why would I get nervous? I'm talking to people I know. The problem, I think, is when you don't know anyone, when you don't do the work to know people, when you don't build relationships. I think that's when people struggle with speaking, in public. Even when I speak on stage, I'm looking at my friends, in the rows. Like, if you work out where your friends are and look at them, talk to them instead, and it works every time. But look, it's a process. So the lady I was speaking to earlier, I said Delilah. She teaches people how to speak confidently. I think that's a very necessary skill that we need to learn. But look, let's talk about a show that our friends are not worrying. What are we here for, right? I think it all ties together. It all ties together, Cyrus. Let me explain why. Let me explain why. Right? Look, I think in life, we goals, things that we want to achieve. We're just talking about Linda's speaking, public speaking. I said now she's got her own show, her own live event, and her own business, right? Now, see, when we have goals, we achieve them at best of times. We really do, right? Almost like climbing a mountain. We do all the work it takes to get there. Now, look, me included. I've got many examples I can share with you. I'm sure you do too, Cyrus, right? You set yourself a goal to write a book, and then you put the work in, and then now you have a book, right? And I'm sure. So most people have more than one book in them, as we always say, Cyrus, right? You got more. They say to write book 2, they just don't know what to do, and they lose their minds literally. They die of nerves. They die of, I can't do it. I don't know what to do, right? Dr. Lisa, I see you too. Welcome. So Pete, so like I said, I can use Linda's. I want to be more confident. I want to speak, with confidence, and then you do it. But time 2, we can't repeat that success. This is a story of humanity, really. Many people do this every day, whether it's making money, whether it's climbing Everest, whether it's riding a bike, whether it's doing a pull-up, as is one of my life missions. Publishing books, doing a podcast, all these things. We say we climb mountains every day, but we don't sustain them. Why is that? Why don't we sustain what we achieve? See, there's a reason for it, and there's a reasons for our inability to stay there, to sustain. To be. My wife called it 15 minutes of fame. I know other people have as well. I'm saying literally, you get famous, and then suddenly, everything drains away from you. The enthusiasm, the hunger, the way to do it suddenly becomes a mystery. You've done it already. How can it be a mystery? And see, this matters because I think this is the road to success. We have this crazy idea, crazy belief that once we get there, we'll just keep going. Momentum is natural and momentum is inevitable. It's not. Ennis learned this lesson. Momentum is not inevitable, right? Once we get somewhere, once we achieve something, in reality, that's where the real work starts. That's what I want to break that reality down today. That's why I say let's talk about how to sustain success. Cyrus, do you have a clue on do you get what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I was going to add something to it as well. You just touched upon something extremely important. That's why I come to this show. That's what I learn from you. And building up upon that and adding to that, I wanted to say, have you ever seen people who achieve a little bit of success and then they disappear? Like a meteor across the sky. You see them burning so bright.
Every
right?
day. We see this
and,
every day,
the,
right?
Yeah, exactly. They, the brighter they are, right? The faster they burn, right? So, and then they tell you, oh, I am feeling burnout. Burnout didn't exist 30 years ago, or at least we didn't have a name for it. Now, if you're doing it for you, I want people who are listening to this, I want you to remember that, because at some point it will help you. If you're doing it for you, you'll never get tired of it. If you're doing it for external validation, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your colleagues, people who are doubting you, if you're doing it for them, you will feel the burnout because you're not doing it for you. So, have you ever noticed people who go viral for a week or two and then they disappear? Of course you have. So they achieve what they are after. They're not after success. They are after validation. So when they get the validation, they stop. Then me and you are wondering what the hell happened there. Why did they stop? They created something amazing. Why did they stop? Oh no, the momentum is being lost. They don't care about momentum. They started for somebody else, for external validation. Let's not forget, validation is for parking. Okay, we're not. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we shouldn't be after validation. So
Yes, no, I agree.
if you're doing it for someone else, you will feel tired of it. If you feel you lost your mojo, if you feel you don't have the energy to carry on anymore, you need to go back. And at some point, I bet you will come to this conclusion. You didn't start it for you. You started for somebody else. You started to shut your doubters up, right? So, and guess what you're going to achieve? You're going to shut them up for a while. But you can't stop people from thinking and talking. They never stop. So don't do it for them. Don't do it for their validation. Do it for you. Don't do it for your kids. Please. Some people tell me, I'm doing it for my children. I'm doing it for my next generation. No, that should be one of your goals. It shouldn't be the be all and end all. If you're doing it for someone else, you will feel the burnout and you will stop.
Yeah, yeah. Look, that I said that I definitely agree with. Marsha, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. The Marsha says, the road to success is certainly a journey. That it is, my friend. That definitely is. It makes me think, what is success, and how do you know when you've actually succeeded? Right. Look, I don't want to spend too long. Great question, Marsha. I don't want to spend too long debating also. I think I'm talking about a very simple way of looking at achievement. We've got to our goal. We've achieved what we were meant to achieve, right? We've climbed the mountain, our mountain today, whatever that may be, right? And we climb mountains every day. So literally, you set out to do something. You've done the work. You've learned. Maybe you've even grown. You've evolved to actually achieve, to actually do that thing. Whether maybe your thing was to write a grant application, Marsha, for Connect Impact Hub, and get a yes and get some money donated by someone, right? Maybe for my son, this is pass his driving test. I'm saying, so whatever it is, let's not complicate the picture. For me, success on many days depends what I'm doing. Success today is getting Amazon to publish my Dr. Noella's book that I want to launch on Monday. Because the longer they don't publish the book, the sooner I have to cancel the event and postpone it. Right? I'm saying, I think we just need to be honest. There's many things that we aim for, and they're hard things. Let's say for some people it is speaking on the podcast. For some people, it's climbing Everest. For some people, it is run 100 meters in 10, less than 10 seconds. Maybe it's others doing the London Marathon. I'm saying these are all things that we set out to do, and by hard work, by sheer force of will, by sheer effort, by learning, by everything that we know, everything it takes up for us to actually get there. For Alavine, welcome. For her, and I'd say one of her things was to learn to speak English fluently. And look where she is now. She speaks English every day of the week, right? I'm saying, we need to acknowledge what is a goal that we're trying to achieve. What is our version of success? You see, there's a reality I've just learned, which is that success, Marsha, is not a destination. Success is a ladder. Yeah, think of that. Everything we do in life is essentially we are on a ladder. We're climbing a ladder every time, right? And the thing we achieve today is one rung on the ladder, one up, right? So now we are now one rung up from where we were yesterday. I use that analogy for a reason. You see, when you see success in life as a ladder, as climbing a ladder, then the reality is many of us get to the next rung on the ladder, success, and then we fall back the rung before where we were before. See, this can devastate entrepreneurs. It nearly killed me many times. This is why I had to get my head around what is going on. Cyrus is, of course, Cyrus is right. Who we're doing it for matters, right? But I think there's a bigger process behind this phenomenon that we'll experience. Some people just give up, as you're saying, Cyrus, they walk away, right? They're like, I'm doing this again, right? And they will never see them ever again. They might have the best idea, they might be the smartest people in the room, but still they can't sustain success. There's something going on I've learned. That's what I want to share today. Of course, I would love to have your experiences. Mr. Curtis, how are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. Curtis, isn't there mental health month, week thing that you're doing? I'm sure there is, right? If you're doing one, Mr. Curtis, please send me an invite so that I can join you. Anyway, Cyrus, there's something going on in our minds, in the way we be, that helps us sustain success. At the same time, there's something that we do. There's things that we do or don't do that means that we lose that momentum. Maybe I should try another one. Don't rely on momentum. Don't rely on motivation. That's what I've learned, right? Because we need to understand the journey we've just been on properly, right? This is where I want to go today. Now, Cyrus, if we talk about your biggest achievement today, which achievement are you excited about?
The achievement that I have recently achieved is finding a formula, finding a way of connecting all of my brands to each other, and all 87 of them. And on each brand, there are a few people who are connected to them. And I have all sorts of brands on different industries. So people are gathering around them recently more than before. I'm not sure what's happening, but and I'm happy. I'm not complaining about it. I'm happy about it. So on each brand, I'm setting up a podcast, and on each podcast, there are people who are benefiting from. So I found out finally, after years of working in a silly way and not knowing what direction to go through, right? What direction to follow. I didn't know what to do, and the focus was on me, and a little bit more me, and I was wrong. And I found out I have to help someone else, and that someone else will become my marketer and strongest advocate, right? So I managed to find the formula, which is use your brand to gather people around the brand and gather people around your business. Then there's no stopping you, right? That's what I've achieved recently, and I'm so freaking proud of it. Why? Because I found out if my brand's not helping someone else, there's no point in creating that brand. It's not worth the website I'm making for it, right? Is your brand making someone else's life a little bit easier? Whatever industry you're in, are you building a team? Is a team gathering around your podcasts or around your brand? That's the question you need to be asking. And always ABT, always be testing. You should always be testing and failing and succeeding. Or ABT, always be testing. On any given day, I'm constantly creating podcast jingles. You know, the opening music for the podcasts,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the intro, the midtro, and the outro. The beginning music, the music for the beginning, music for the beginning, for the middle, for the end. I use lyrics for making the podcast better, to convey the meaning, and there has been this um, there has been this enhancement in my creativity recently because uh, I'm working with more people. So the more people you work with, the more feedback you get, the more creative you will become. It's out of your hand. You can't control that. Trust me. You will become more creative. You will become more efficient, right? And
Mm,
and one of the, I think it was Linda who asked such a fantastic question. She asked, "How do we know we've achieved success?" Um,
mm.
well,
Gosh.
well, the success um, that you experiencing or not experiencing is to do with whether you are making progress. If you're buying a house, you're excited for a month. If you getting a client, you're excited for 2 weeks. If you're buying a car, you're excited for 5 days. If you
Yeah.
are getting more and more of the same success in an increasing way, if you're making progress, progress makes people happy, not success.
Mm.
Success
Yeah,
is
I
an
tell you.
ideal. Mhm.
Yes, success is, the thing we call success is a destination. It's a point. It's merely a point on a,
Mm.
welcome to the show. How you doing? Great to see you, of course. Alvin, welcome on stage. I do see you. I'll come to you in a second. So welcome to the show. So Mr. Curtis says they call distraction. No, it's not the distraction part. Philip, I see you as well. Mr. The man who leads, with love for his veteran community. Look, I think that there is what I'm talking about today, my friend. Those who just joined us, it's this reality that we have, that we work very hard to achieve something, success, call it that, right? Whatever that may be. Start a business, do something, ride a bike, drive a car, whatever, climb a mountain, do a podcast, do what Sarah's talking about, and I'm creating this ecosystem of websites. And then we lose it all because we just literally fall off the wagon. We lose momentum. Suddenly, we feel like we're going backwards. For some people, this can be so destroying. The example I might give you is now. I remember when I published my first book, Cyrus, I was so happy with myself, right? And it was someone who asked me to make them a bestseller, and suddenly they're like, "Can you publish a book as well?" I'm like, yeah, if I must, And I published a book, and it turned out just fine. It's an HR book, and there's, her name is, my author's name is Joni, right? And literally, not Joni that we know, Joni. Who spend time with us, So, but no, but this author I never met before, and this is the first time she ever asked me to publish a book, and I did. I was so pleased, Cyrus. I was genuinely chuffed, right? And of course, the book became a bestseller. That's not the point. You know what? What happened with my next book, Cyrus? And I think I published 2 more books after that for Pastor Hebron, right? They too went well because they were ebooks. So I'm thinking, Annie, you're on a roll, man. You got this. This is so easy, straightforward, right? Yes, and then we got to Paulette's book, Jack and Water book.
That was a good one.
I did what I came to do, Cyrus. I published. I
You
did the
did
layout.
well.
I
I
published the
was
book, Cyrus.
I was in that party. I was in that party. You did well, mate.
Well, that's Alavin's
2 years
connection,
ago.
right? You see, but so what? See, here's what no one saw. Well, the first version, draft 1, call it what you like. The first version of that book was a disaster. Disaster. The fonts were wrong, the layouts were wrong, everything was wrong. Right? That was version 1. And I couldn't work out what the hell was going on. I just couldn't work. I was like, what? No, this is our reality, my friends. And I think we need to understand the process of achievement to be able to sustain our success. See, the first, version 1 was a disaster. So I thought, okay, let me correct it. Let me put into effect what I know is going to work. This has worked before, right? Version 2 was a disaster. Look, we got to version 8. By version 7, Paulette was calling me crying. Her husband was saying, "Get rid of him. Get someone else to do it." I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I've done it before. What the hell, right? So you get. I'm sure you can see why I'm pained by this. Literally, life for me has always been 2 steps forward feels like 1 step back. It could be the other way around. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? That's it. That's what I'm talking about today. What is going on there? What's that about? I remember telling the show when I interviewed her on my show a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, right? That I'm so happy I got to do a pull up. Now, look, when you're 20 stone, pulling yourself up on the bar is it's taking me everything I've got. I told the show this and told everyone's heard me as well, right? Then suddenly, go and do it today. I probably couldn't, right? When these things happen to us, this reality happens to us, we go and beat ourselves up. We're like, I don't know. I give up. I'm no good. This is not for me. I can't believe I can't do it. I can't believe it's just not working. Why isn't it working? Because that's not how life works. That's not how our achievements happen. That's not how success happens. We need to understand how success happens. We need to understand how to stay there once we get there. Cyrus, and Alvin, you get where I'm coming from now. You see where I'm coming from, right?
Hi, Alvin.
We go forward, we go backwards. Alvin, how you come back? How you doing? Yay! Try. Oh no, okay. Let's try this one then. You have to unmute. You're muted on the last one, and then you fell off the stage.
Early, give her a chance, man.
There's 2 of her. That's why, Cyrus. There's 2 of her.
Is there?
Yeah. There's 2 Alvins. Alvin, talk to us. Try one of them. Try to unmute. I think her reception is struggling.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yay! Brilliant.
Hello. How's it going?
Hello. I think the problem is about the tab because I received the notification. The tab has crashed. And I'm like, what's going on with you?
No, it's a joy to have you on stage. So I make sure I invited you especially. So I'm glad you're
Yes,
here.
and I'm happy to be with you guys. It's been a while. I've been trying so hard. I'm like, but what's going on with that app? Things like that. Anyway, so I'm here.
We've all had the pain of the way Restream works and LinkedIn. I've been working for the last couple of months, right? Again, it's part of the conversation I'm having today with you. I'm saying we've all done shows, and it can be quite a weird thing when suddenly our shows don't go the way they're meant to go, right? It's really strange, and some people have walked away from doing shows altogether. But I think once we learn how we achieve at that level, our lives become better, and I think we become better and better at doing whatever it is that we want to do in life. Let me welcome Dr. Josette. Welcome, Dr. Josette. Always good to see you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. You're the one doing amazing things. You're saying like that. That's why I should support it all the time, because you are doing, you're making progress. And again, this is part of the conversation, Dr. Josette. When someone aims to make movies with zero budget, zero know-how, zero anything, just it's the intention, is the aim that you work towards day after day, year after year, and you're getting there, my friend. You're getting there. You see, the thing in life is that we have to then move beyond getting there. There's 3 Alvins now, Cyrus. So, brother Charlie, welcome. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I was just wondering, and I was just wondering what's going on because what I'm drinking is tea, nothing stronger than that, and I can see three of her. I didn't even
Right.
pour milk in my tea.
Honestly, right now, let me show you a video, my friends. If you're here, please drop us a comment. Let me turn my YouTube on. Say I'd love to welcome you properly. If you've got any questions, then by all means, please ask your questions. If you want to come on stage, the link is on the event page, or you can just put on the chat here. Any send me a link, please. And then we'll go from there. So I'll send you a link to your DM. I'm trying to find the show on my YouTube. I should find it because it's there, right? Anyway, look, let me show you a quick video that gives you an idea of where Annie's coming from and what Annie's learned. So it's a couple of minutes long. Let's hope that's a minute and a half, really. Yes. This gives you an idea of what I'm thinking of today. Here goes.
But they are not disciplined enough to sustain it. It is not important to experience what you call success. What is important is to be able to sustain success. The reason why there are things God will not give to you now is because of our ability to sustain it. Whatever you cannot sustain, God will not give to you because you don't have the capacity to retain it, the capacity to keep it. Experiencing success for a while is not important. Sustaining is the importance of it. And it takes discipline to sustain. It takes discipline to sustain an anointing. It takes discipline to sustain a breakthrough. So there are certain things you are praying about. The Lord will not release it to you until he sees the art and the place, the virtue of discipline before it will release to you. Some people are not disciplined with money. So the Lord is not going to. See, you were not faithful in the little. How can I give you much? These are the things that we need to understand. Faithfulness is a discipline. So the more you become disciplined in things, the more we can entrust so many things to you. Many of the times, what you have now, it is what you are disciplined to contain. That's why I always tell you that even when it comes into the area of finance, it is your capacity, your mental capacity to handle. There are some of you, when you get certain monies now, the way you part it, some people, let me tell you, if you give them certain opportunities now, they will not be in church again. That is the reality. They will not be in church again. There are people, when you give them certain opportunities, they will not be there again. See, there are people, even when they get certain, even in the workplace, they will not report. How many of us could be blessed knowing that for the rest of our life, we will not get to be poor again and they will wake up and go to work? They will not. They are comfortable. They feel they have everything. It takes discipline to have certain things and still go on and on and on and again.
I truly love that. I love, I love the man's message. It's hold up, stop talking. Right, you can stop. So let me come back on my restream link, which is being weird. Okay, here we are. We're back here again. Hello, Vince, still struggling, right? Look, sometimes, as Brother Charlie says, sometimes it's bad weather that stops us, right? Many things can stop us doing it, repeating the feat again. But we must repeat the feat. If we don't repeat the feat, we're not going to get the benefits, right? We're not going to get, there's no point running 100 meters, in 6 seconds today, and tomorrow you can't do it. You can't repeat it. There's no point making or getting 3 customers today, and then you can't repeat it. In a book today, and I can't repeat the feat. Cyrus, helps his clients sell through the website, and they can't repeat it. Repetition is how businesses are built. And repeating our achievement is key to everything that we want to be. There's no point in the show doing one show and then on a TV show and say, all right, and I can't do another one, because then there's no momentum in that. That's lost. There's no. Let me try this. See, Cyrus, I've learned a lesson, which is that everything is a step. I mentioned earlier, and like you said, Cyrus, part of getting there and staying there. It's asking yourself, what's next? This is a freaky look for maybe it's just me, for someone like me, I think for many people really, we don't think beyond what's here, the now, right? What we're doing right now, but we have to think beyond the now, because that's a fuel to get to where we are. That there's a saying, Cyrus, what got you here won't get you there.
Oh wow,
Think of that.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
These aren't just sayings. These are our reality. The coaches know this. Good coaches know this. They know this is exactly what happens to us, right? And I guess I'm having to learn what that really means. It's saying that that's what that's what's bugging me today. That's what I want to talk about today, right? I think, you've mentioned a good couple of the things that we need, Cyrus, right? And of course, the video mentions discipline. What's discipline, really? Think about it. What's discipline to you? Discipline to me is show up, number one, be consistent. More importantly, it is be methodical, be intentional, be methodical. That word means something, right? In other words, how many things do we do achieve that success that we're looking for, achieve that thing we want to achieve, right? And we almost don't know how we got there. That's not discipline. Discipline is, being very meticulous in the process that we got there with, knowing how we got there, break it down, understand it. If you don't understand it, that's one of the lessons I've learned in life for sure, right? I'm saying that beyond that, I think discipline is documenting your process, documenting your learning. Maybe is journaling. Journal every day, review what you have done every day. I think just those two things will get you to understand your journey. Because you have to steps to repeat them, right? And then from there you can build. But again, like I said, what got you here won't get you there. So just following those steps alone ain't going to get you there. Isn't that a scary thought, Cyrus?
Yes, it actually is. Absolutely. When people go through difficulties, me included, when I go through difficulties, I just I go I go through a little bit of depression and a little bit of frustration. Yeah, of course I do. But I go back to my baseline again. I have to, right? The responsibilities I've got is too many and too heavy to afford frustration, anger, or having a train that has been derailed. Yeah, I'm only human. Yes, I do get I do fail, and I fail more than you can count, and I've failed more than I've succeeded in life. Yes, I acknowledge that. But when I succeed, I do it proper. I do because I've tried different ways and I didn't get there, and I document them just like you said. Yes, so avoid this type, approach that type of customer, approach, and improve your work. When you improve your work and the content that you create, the higher the quality of your content, the higher the quality of the customers you will be attracting to your work, right? You want higher quality, therefore you have to provide higher quality, right? And when you feel like the train's been derailed and everything's gone to shit, just start again. So that is the reason why I've written a song called "Start Again." If you want, I can play it now. Any.
I think you have a point there for sure. You know what to do, right? You know how to do. Please do your thing.
Okay, there you go. Can you see my screen yet? I think you should add me onto the screen. Any. There you go, mate. I dedicate this to anyone who's not achieved what they want, or they achieved and lost it, or they are in the process of achieving it. Whatever happens, just start again. That's all you need to do.
Start again. It's been long enough. Break the chain. You've been a quiet lioness. Now it's time to roar again. Time to cause an uproar again. You fought battles no one saw. Those scars were never earned in vain. Leave the shadows, step into the spotlight. Stand back up and start again. Start again. Start again. Start again. Break every chain. Again and again. Start again. Hey, start again. Start again. Start again. Hey. Every fall has made you stronger. You won't have to wait much longer. Cause the fire never left your heart. Today's your day. Make it start. You had enough of this pain. Leave the past out in the rain. One more chance. Here's all you need. Stand back up, dry your eyes and start again. One more chance. One more dance. Your breath taken like Spain and France. One more fight with all your might. One more day. One more night. This is your moment. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's Let the world see you rise again, rise again, rise again, rise again, rise again. Let the world get surprised again. I believe in you. Start again if things aren't good yet. It's not the end yet. I bet you've been hiding for ages. Lionesses don't belong in cages. Start again. Start again. Start again. Start again. Start again. Start It's never the end if you start again.
Right. Cyrus, whilst you were doing that, my friend, great song, by the way, truly great song. And the message is what is very important. Let me
Thank
turn
you.
my sound. Hold on. Okay, right. I've worked this out. See, Cyrus, remember I said that my computer wasn't working? My MacBook wasn't working?
Yeah.
I started again.
Ah,
No, but this is important.
brilliant.
this is important. So, but this is my point today, my friend. This is what I came to share with you. And Cyrus, you're unpicking the important things in the conversation, right? Start again, but realize that you now have a new baseline.
You know
Once
why
you're
I, you know why I
go,
wrote that song? One of my friends was going through a difficult time. Okay, um, I'm talking about facing life and death, right? That kind. And after she came back, started a podcast, etc., etc. And after running businesses and coming to a point in life that she had to deal with life and death, and she beat the odds.
mm,
And guess what? She beat death,
mm,
and she started again. And I wrote that song for her because she inspired me. Ever since I started writing lyrics and stuff, I've learned that poets need um, getting inspired. They need inspiration. If there's no inspiration in my work, I can't write lyrics unless I'm inspired. So that's why I see days throughout the month that I don't write any lyrics at all, or I don't make any music at all because I'm not inspired. Then I go to an event. I deal with people. I learn about their problems. They inspire me. I get new problems myself. I inspire me. I mean, my problem does. And then I write a new lyrics, a set of a piece of lyrics. I create a new song. You've got to go through the like thick and thick and thin of life, and then that inspires you, right? So if you're not going through difficulties, you're probably not doing anything really. You got to be doing something. You got to find yourself in a difficulty. You got to get stuck. Then
I
once
agree.
you get out of that situation, then that is then the next milestone achieved.
I agree. 100%, Cyrus. 100%. So many of us don't understand it. We now you say we get it. I'm saying, but we don't apply it to ourselves necessarily, because we seem to
Hmm.
think like we're superheroes. Let me welcome Sam. How you doing, Sam? Great to have you here, my friend. It's always great. I haven't seen you for a while. The man, the myth, the legend. That's you, Sam, right? No, I hear you. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts again, Sam. We haven't heard from you for a long time. But when you're ready. So the link is in the comment if you want to join us. But Cyrus, look, I think we have to understand the need to start again. All right. Because when we achieve something, we think, "Oh, I've made it. That's it." That's not it. Like you're saying, Cyrus, life will throw challenges at us
That's
because
part of it. It's not it.
yes, exactly. Because those challenges don't mean we are failures. Doesn't mean that we don't know what we're doing. Doesn't mean we doubt ourselves. Doesn't mean we start hating what we're doing. And again, the people who walk away, Cyrus, they throw the toys up and out of the pram and say, "I'm no good. I can't do this. No one's buying my stuff. No one cares. I'm off." Right? And that is just, we're not helping ourselves. The life works differently, and I would like us to understand how life really works, right? There's another point you made, Cyrus, which I think is so important in this conversation, right? I think let's quit messing about.
Let's quit quitting.
No, I didn't swear. Let's stop screwing about, right? You said, no, everything you do it with excellence. I remember talking to Dr. Linda Gray the other day, right? And she said she's made two mistakes in about 50 years of work. Two mistakes. And she can actually identify the two mistakes. That's what makes it worse for me, Cyrus. That's aiming for excellence, right? She does things so well. That's how she's raised nearly half a billion pounds for charities through her grant writing and building organizations around the world. She's made two mistakes in her grant applications. Two. I mean, can any of us say we've made two mistakes? And we haven't been in business 10 years. I've been in business 11 years. We've been in business a handful of years, but we've made more mistakes than we can count on one hand. What does it really mean to aim for excellence in all you do? It means document. It means learn. It means, truly focus. Apply yourself all the time. See, that's the only way you're going to go from one rung of the ladder to another, one level to the next level, right? Because
In
if
my
go on, please.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Annie. In my line of work, things are different. What I encourage my friends and clients is to make as many mistakes they can make, because it's podcasting. When you go live, when you become a podcaster, you've got to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning, right? You've got to mess things up. And yeah, it's good to be proud of not making mistakes. I agree. However, life's not perfect. I'm not perfect. People are not drawn towards perfection, because that makes you out of reach, right? That makes you feel like you're out of reach. And when you get to that level, that is when you've hit the ceiling of your growth. Okay, if you're not making mistakes anymore, you're not making progress, you're not learning new things, you're not trying new things, right? If you
Yep.
that tells me don't step out of your comfort zone. And guess what comfort zone gives you? Comfort.
Yeah.
That's
No,
it.
we're saying the same thing. It sounds like we're disagreeing, but we're really not. We're saying the same thing. The other
Yeah,
day,
but and even if we disagree, right? The confrontation and the clash of these two ideas, right, helps people come to
yes,
their own conclusions. We're not here to think for people. We're not here to tell them what to think. We're here to tell them how to think, right? And
yes.
and we are here to learn from you and others how you think. That's how I learn, right? Otherwise, everyone's capable of that what to think part. Everyone's doing that anyway.
Mm, yeah. The how to think part. That's what this show is all about, right? Yes. And then let me this point you make, which I think is 100% right, right? Be prepared to learn better. Growth is Cyrus, right? Because Sean did a show the other day called "Be Prepared to Do It Badly." Something to that effect, right? Again, it wasn't saying make mistakes all day. What it was saying is what we don't bear in mind when we achieve something, which is simply that when we get to the next level, when we achieve that goal, we're now ready to go to the next level, right? And the next level, you're at the next level because you make mistakes. You're suddenly not the smartest guy in the room, the smartest girl in the room, right? Suddenly you're amongst people who are better than you, who know more than you, who do it better than you, right? But you must learn how to do it equally well, surely, if not better, right? And that comes from making mistakes. So I agree with you 100%. But I think that the first thing you have to do is acknowledge that your baseline, another word you mentioned earlier, Cyrus, has now changed. So now one day my baseline was I need to get over that bar. I need to get my head over that bar, and I must do a pull up, right? Once I did, my baseline now becomes I need to get my chest over that bar. So that's gonna no. Can you see why I suddenly gone backwards in my mind in doing pull-ups? Suddenly it's like, oh, I'm no good. I can't do it. Of course I can do it. I've done it. I've done it before, right? What I need to do is be very disciplined. Work on the strategies, the steps that got me to that pull-up in the first place, and then get better. Build the foundations to get to the next level, that next rung on the ladder. This is what life really is. Many people just don't understand it. I think once you understand that, you give yourself grace. You give yourself the time to learn. You give yourself, I guess, the joy of becoming better, the joy of becoming the person who does things at the next level. So the fact that you've done something already and you can't do it again, it's not a sign of failure. It just means that you have higher standards. That's what my coach calls it. You now have much higher standards. So what you did yesterday is no longer the goal. Going past that is now the goal. Isn't that interesting? I love that idea.
That's brilliant. That's
No,
brilliant.
really. It excites me. Jay, our storytelling genius, welcome, my friend. You see, look, all of us are called to do what we're talking about today, right? Which is achieve something. Jay wrote his book, right? But don't sit on that. You're not. If you just sit on that joy forever, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna go backwards. Others, others are gonna come past you. What Jay's done is create courses, create events, create, software, create programs to guide people through storytelling. I'm saying this is what life calls on us to do. Like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? You see, now, whilst we're doing what's next, aiming for the next level, we have to build the foundation, the solid foundation to get us from where we think we are, our new baseline, what we achieved, to the next baseline. And when we get there, everything we say is going to happen again, Cyrus. We're going to feel stupid. We're going to feel dumb. Don't let it beat you. Just start again, but at a new baseline, at a new understanding of who you are, what you can do. See, that is just a revolution. It sounds revolutionary way of thinking to me, Cyrus, but it is the way to think. It is our reality, right? So now, when I publish books, I have fun, like trying new ways, but it does require doing more of it, repetition. You have to repeat with intention, repeat with eyes wide open, taking in the steps, taking the process that got you there, that got you here. And then you have to learn from people who know better. Read the books, learn from mentors, learn from those who know, get a coach. That's the only way you're going to get to next level after that. I don't know. I might as well say
regarding that coach bit, right? That can, I'm not saying it is, but that can be a massive elephant trap, right? So it can be, right? So, but there are ways to walk around that elephant trap, right? So here's my recommendation for people who want to get a coach, right? Get a coach who's already done it. Don't get a coach who talks about it. Okay, so 99.99% of coaches on LinkedIn and on other platforms, right? If the job is just to coach, don't get them. Let me give you an example. Don't hire those coaches. Let me give you an example. If you want to get a coach and you think, okay, I'm going to get any as a coach, right? I'm going to pay any to help me with such and such project. All right, okay, good. Talk to them first and tell them these are the parameters that I want to achieve, right? These are the definitions and the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
These are the goals, and these are the sub goals. Okay, I want to achieve these. Can you help me achieve it? 99.99%, they're going to say yes, right? So, if you want to become a publisher, you need to get a coach who is, guess what? A publisher. Don't get a coach whose job is being a coach, okay? Because you gamble it, right? I'm not saying those are not successful or they will not lead you to success. Get someone who's been there, right? How can you be successful? How can a coach you to success? Success being a successful coffee shop owner, right? How can they help you to success if they haven't run a coffee shop before? A steakhouse, how can they help you to be a steakhouse manager or owner if that person hasn't had 2, 3, 4 successful steakhouses of 6, 7, 8 figures, right? So make sure they're doing it or they have done it. Just to avoid that elephant trap that I mentioned, the coaching elephant trap. It's a lucrative market. It's a massive market. We make it massive. Some of us, by being careless, we make it massive like that.
Yeah. No, and I was look. Again, I can't agree with you more. Many people are just coaches. I say just. The good coaches, they know what they're talking about, and you can tell when they know what they're talking about, right? So, Cyrus, you and I have talked many times, and I've said to you, in my life, I always aim to find the X factor, that thing that others don't know, that others are not doing, right? The good coach knows what the X factor is, for you, for your sector. They really do. It's not enough to just they understand mindset, they understand numbers. They have to know what it is in your sector you need. So see, then you realize, Cyrus, maybe we're talking about something else, Cyrus, called a mentor. A mentor is someone who's been through the journey that you're going on. It's a mentor. It's different, slightly different to a coach, because mentors are not necessarily paid. Some are, but a mentor has been on that journey, so they know the steps that you're going to go through, and they're not going to tell you everything. They'll tell you what you need to know and what you ask them, right? I mean, a mentor is not like, a coach. You pay to help you get results. A mentor is someone that you learn from, because they want to impart their knowledge onto someone like you, like me, and they're unpaid, so it's voluntary. So, and obviously you're not obliged to listen to them, right? And mentors have a place, not just coaches. When what you're talking about, the Cyrus, sounds like a mentor, hook, line, and sinker. And the person who's been there before, knows the journey, knows what you're going through, knows what you're going to face, and can guide you along the journey. See, with a mentor, the choice is yours. Are you going to listen, or are you going to ignore it? Because it's your choice, right? Nothing's hard and fast. Nothing is fixed. It's a voluntary relationship. Now, again, Dr. Noella said, the book I'm publishing, the author, I'm publishing a book I'm waiting for it to go live right now. She swears by mentors, and she got 3 or 4 mentors. So she's created a global company, a global organization that helps people, with healthcare in Africa and around the world. I'm saying mentors, they're a big thing, but the point is, it still stays the same, Cyrus. We need to carry on learning, building the foundation, build that foundation and build that wall, right? We need to raise our standards. And the way we do that is, if you know what got you here, then learn from it. Realizing that you have to do more to get to the next level. Sometimes that learning from it means going backwards, at least to the naked eye. But if we carry on learning, if we carry on doing the right things, aiming for excellence, right? And if we just keep building, increase our capabilities, next level is there, it's within our reach. But again, once we get to the next level, we can't settle, we can't relax, we can't be happy that that's it, because that's not it. That's just another rung on the ladder. That's just another point, on the journey. Anyway, looking at it, I think it's one of life's greatest lessons I've learned, really, and that's why I'm sharing it with you today, right? There's no place for despondency, for self-hating and disappointing ourselves, and feeling that it's not worth it, because that the growth journey necessitates that we get to a stage where we have to learn. It's that stage where real growth happens. There's no growth in, let me show another video quick before we go. And hopefully this will make another point to the one I showed earlier. Psychological techniques, it's not those. I love how we're very careful at tabs. Here goes, my friends. This is a short 40-second video. Please pay attention, because it goes by very quickly, right? Here goes. Let's see what expanding that looks like. Okay, here it goes. Oh no! Oh,
Success.
Disaster.
Let it. And assume that the biggest mistake in leadership is assuming the momentum will sustain itself. But the reality is, success breeds complacency if you let it. And assume that the biggest mistake in leadership is assuming the momentum will sustain itself. Because it won't. It has to be continuously revitalized and readjusted, and more effort from different directions, but very carefully, because you don't want to screw up momentum either. You don't want to break something that's working well, but at the same time, you need to continue to adjust it, because as soon as you do get complacent, new challenges will pop up that you're ignoring. But the reality is, success breeds complacency if you let it. And assume that the biggest mistake in leadership is assuming the momentum will sustain itself, because it won't. It has to be continuously revitalized and readjusted, and more effort from different directions, but very carefully, because you don't want to screw up momentum either. You don't want to break something that's working well, but at the same time, you need to continue to adjust it, because as soon as you do get complacent, new challenges will pop up that you're ignoring.
Look, again, I think that's another important point for us to bear in mind, right? I'm all for celebrating our success once we achieve something. But, I think, I've come to realize that is not the end goal. If that's your end goal, then, I guess, you can die by your sword here, right? Put your sword in the ground, and that's where you stay. But our success really comes from striving, doing more. Like that, that graph we see constantly, Cyrus. The road to success. That graph where there's always that, we think it's a straight line of success, always going up, right? Whereas in reality, it's up, down, up, down. This is what I'm talking about today. Is that up, down graph. It's a good thing, because for all the things we said today, Cyrus. Would you make a video, Cyrus? You're still muted, so maybe you're going to get a cup of tea. But literally, my friends, we need to understand that success is forwards and then backwards to learn what we really have to learn to become the person that does that thing consistently. The person who achieves that thing, right? So don't let challenges beat you. If anything, embrace your challenges. Welcome them, call for them, seek them by aiming higher, seek them by aiming more, by aiming to do more. This is what we're called on to do if we want to achieve real success. Again, I'm always not wary. I always have Maslow's hierarchy of needs in mind. Of all the things Maslow says, literally, first we work on just survive, and then work on relationships, and work on esteem, all these different needs that we have. And then once we've achieved everything, once we've achieved everything that we set out to do, we're then left with the greatest achievement of all, which is self-actualization. Then you realize that success really lies in being as good as we can be. That's what it means to self-actualize. The question you have to ask is, how good can I be, can I really be? And then anything is possible, right? We are possible. We can impact the world in huge ways that it probably never crossed our mind. But to do any of that, we need to grow. We need to climb the ladder of success. We need to work out how to go from success to next level, which looks like failure, because we have to go backwards a bit. We have to fail to go forwards. We have to do things badly, in Coach Sean's words, before we can move forward. The doing things badly is not a bad thing. It's part of the journey. Let's embrace it. Let's use that. When we looks like we're doing things badly, when it looks like we're stuck, when it looks like we're stagnating, we're going backwards. That's when we really have to ask ourselves, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn to get to the next level? What do I really need to build, in me to be the guy, the lady who does what I want to do consistently? And doing it again is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take all the work, all our effort, all our abilities, all our capabilities, all our vision, all our dreams, sometimes all our money. Now, but this, my friends, is the road to success, and it's how you sustain success. Yeah, avoiding complacency, learning all the time. Even when we get there, now leaders learn more. Otherwise, they stop becoming leaders. Successful people learn more. The Warren Buffetts of this world, they learn more. Now, go and watch one of his interviews. You see, this man is always learning, always trying new things, always asking himself that biggest question of all: what's next? What is next? You know, that is part of our road to get to sustain our success. Because once we get to what's next, where we are today becomes part of our normal, right? We've gone past that. You know, I really hope today's made sense. I really hope someone takes something away from it. You know, and teach other people. Why not? You know, try it yourself. Try it yourself, and I'm sure you do it already. I'm sure you do. I really hope you do. You know, otherwise, try it. You know, aim for something really big, and then experience the forward backwardsness of our journey. You know what? And then when you embrace the going backward part, then realize that you must move forward again. The things I've talked about today will suddenly make sense. Cyrus, I'm glad you came back. I thought you were stuck. I thought maybe you went to go make your cup of tea. Yeah, and your milk, two sugars. Tea, milk, 2 sugars, right? I really thought I lost you, but are you still there? You're muted.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you now, mate. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you were saying something about tea, milk, 2 sugars.
Yes. No, thank you for coming back.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure. My battery died.
That's why you couldn't do anything else, and I understand. Thank you for coming back, though. Look, I've got this vision of all of us, some of us, we just one of us achieving greatness on a greatness scale. Real impact the world greatness. And of course, I hope it's me. I hope it's you too, right? I really do. And I think I've had to learn so much, and I'm still learning so much on this journey. And I guess I'm trying to make sense of it and know what am I doing, how am I doing it? What can I take away? What can I share with my friends? That's why we do these shows, my friend. Now, Cyrus, look, what do you want to leave us with today? So you shared much great, good stuff. Start again. Excellent song, excellent, great message as well. Start again. Your baseline has risen. Aim for excellence all the time. That way you don't say, "Oh, it didn't go right because I didn't put all my all into it." Put your all into everything you do. That's what the world calls on you to do. That way, win or lose, pass or fail, you will have a platform to build on, to learn, to get to the next level. I've lost you again, Cyrus. Please, what's the final message today?
So in terms of success and failure and stuff like that, I see a lot of people who get lost in definitions, and the world is a confusing place. It's hard to navigate at times, right? And it's difficult to navigate because definitions are not just one. There's many definitions. That alone should tell you shouldn't rely on definitions, right? I have been on podcasts that they were soul crushing. Why soul crushing? Because the definitions, it was a war of definitions. It was of definitions. Oh, this is the definition of success. No, that is the definition of success. Oh, this is the definition. No, that is the definition of burnout. So people were fighting over what is success. So, and I'm like, so in that space of time, right? You could show people a couple of ways to get out of that rot again, right? Instead of making it about definitions or, oh, my definition is more beautiful than yours. How it works, that's not helping people. That's judging yourself, right? So then I realized if I really think I can do better, and that's when I started my own podcasts, and in my podcast, I none of I but I don't talk about what degrees I've got and because that's not going to help people, is it? So imagine if I told you about my achievements of my degrees, how is that going to help you solve your problem? People don't grab their wallets and purses and go to the market to find out about how fantastic and how polished you are, or I am. No, they don't do that. They grab their purses, grab their wallets, they go to the market to find a solution to alleviate their own pain. That's why people spend money. They buy dog food so their dog's not hungry. They buy baby food so the baby's not hungry. They pay a gardener so the garden looks pretty, so they can sell their house for a higher price. You know, everything people spend money on is a problem that needs solving. Find that problem, solve it, and you will never feel this BS that people now and this and that. But please don't fall. Please don't fall into definitions. Okay, redefine your definitions. Just say it in a different way. If you feel you failed, just okay, you failed. So what? Tomorrow is another day, right? Just keep going. You haven't found a way to do what you want to do. Okay, that's fine. You fell off the bike. It's okay. Dust yourself off and
Start again. Start again.
start again.
Start again. Look, I think you can play this song for us to go out, right? You know, they're saying, like, give me a minute. You know, look, 100%, I agree with you, right? You know, and you mentioned what do we need to do, which is be honest with ourselves. In all these things we do, right? You know, in everything we do, be honest. If we're honest with ourselves, you know, we learn, we get better. Like, do you want to put your second self back on stage, Cyrus? I haven't seen it yet, so if I do, that would be nice. I really hold on. No, that's me. There's two of me, one of you. My friends, look. Cyrus, it said it very well. Let's not get stuck on semantics. Let's not get stuck on the words. Now, let's do what we need, what we know we need to do. So that comes from being honest with ourselves. Really honest, now brutally honest with ourselves. You know, when we are, we know what we have to do. We know what we have to learn. You know, let's do what we have to do. Now, the time to procrastinate, pontificate is gone. It's long gone, right? It's time to start doing what we have to do to really move the needle. You know, and that's, you know, when we start being honest with ourselves, our world changes because we make the right decisions, we make the right choices. You know, when we work to serve others, you know, then suddenly what the coach said to us makes sense. What we heard in our podcast makes sense. You know, suddenly we begin to really become who we have to become to achieve this success we want. You know, that's remarkable. And strangely enough, you know, it's as easy as that. Dr. Josette, you hear me singing her praises every day because she wakes up and does what she has to do. You know, if she doesn't, the results will tell. You know, yes, some days she makes tremendous progress. Other days it looks like she's made no progress at all. Back to square one effect. but she's never back to square one. She's always building on what she has done or what she's learned. And it's same for all of us, my friends. I try and build on what I've learned. Sometimes that means investing in people. Sometimes, and again, the point Sarah's made very well. Relationships. It goes a long way, right? The people we surround ourselves with goes a long way. If we really want to grow, and we're spending time with people who bring us down, with people who are not interested in what we do, in the wrong spaces, with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, wasting time, distractions, Brother Charlie called it earlier, right? I said, if that's what we're doing, then let's not be surprised at the results we're not getting. I dare you to be brave. I dare you to truly do what you know you have to do with everything you've got. Aim for excellence. Some days you look good. Some days you achieve something. Other days you feel bad because you haven't achieved anything, because you feel like you've gone backwards. Embrace it. That's life in a nutshell. That's life in reality. That's success coming to you. If you never feel bad, if you never feel like you have to learn something, you have to do something different, if you never feel like you have to learn, you're not growing. Yeah. I love life. I hope you do too, my friends. I love life. I love what I do. I love work. I love serving people. I love being the person that we are. I mean, I'm not. I'm a me. I am, right. The person that we are collectively. That's what the world really needs. And just think where we could be in a year's time when we look backwards and say, wow, look how far I've come. That's a dream that I have. That's a dream that keeps me awake every night. That's a dream that I think we can all strive for and make our reality. So, my friend, thank you for joining us. I've got a show tomorrow. Dr. Noella's last party before our book launch party on, is it Monday? Oh, well, we'll kind of be at the beck of Amazon, right? Once Amazon publishes the books, I can't really set dates, so that date might have to move. Yeah, well, I don't know there's nothing else I can do, right? And it's a process that we have to go through to launch a book. Now, do I take that as a mistake on my part? Look, on a different day, I would have. On a different day, I would have said, you know what? We need this book published, and Amazon's taking its time. But because I only published the book the day before the event, I blame myself. This time I published the book a week before the event, and we're still waiting, right? Now, hopefully you can see how this brings everything together. Do what you have to do when you have to do it. Do it with your best. That way you're not lamenting what you could have done better or differently. And for next time, I will learn something. Let me see how long it takes Amazon, because then I will give my clients that new timeline, deadline, that new process that I can almost guarantee will get us there. Yeah. This is not theory. This is not speaking in tongues. This is reality. Our reality. Go create greatness, my friends. Look, as I've learned to do these days, you've been watching any old song at Global.Media, and we make you famous. Take care, my friends. Take care. Can I get to the bottom of my screen? Yeah, no, I can't get to the bottom of my screen. I know what I need to do. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Goodbye, my friends. Enjoy. Here goes.
And he sees you. He sees you. He sees you. From the children with no voice in borrowed rooms to the man